Palestine, before 1948, was a land of vibrant diversity, where various cultures and religions coexisted harmoniously for centuries. Muslims, Christians, and Jews lived side by side, sharing not only the land but also their traditions, festivals, and daily lives. Their cultures interwoven, their lives intertwined, creating a rich mosaic of human experience and mutual respect. The land was a tapestry of faiths and traditions, a testament to the power of coexistence, where each community contributed to the social and cultural fabric. Families farmed the land, merchants plied their trade, and children played in the streets, their laughter echoing through ancient alleyways, symbolizing the joy of a shared life. Their laughter echoing through ancient alleyways, a sound that resonated with the spirit of community and togetherness. This was Palestine, a land of peace and shared prosperity, where different faiths and cultures thrived in harmony. But this peaceful existence was shattered by the arrival of Zionism, a political ideology that sought to establish a Jewish state in Palestine, fundamentally altering the region's dynamics. Fueled by European anti-Semitism and a longing for a homeland, the Zionist movement began to gain momentum in the early 20th century, driven by the desire to create a safe haven for Jews. European Jews, fleeing persecution, looked to Palestine as a safe haven, a place where they could rebuild their lives free from fear and oppression. However, their arrival was not without consequence, as the influx of new settlers began to strain the existing social and economic structures. Palestinian Arabs, the majority population, watched with growing unease as more and more Jewish immigrants arrived, encouraged by the British Mandate authorities who had their own geopolitical interests. The seeds of conflict were sown, a clash of aspirations, a fight for the same land, setting the stage for a prolonged and complex struggle that continues to this day. 1948. A year that would forever alter the course of history in the Middle East. The year Israel declared independence, with David Ben-Gurion announcing the establishment of a Jewish state in the ancient land of Israel. The year Palestine was erased from the map, its borders redrawn, and its name removed from official records. The Nakba, the catastrophe as Palestinians call it, marked the beginning of their dispossession. A mass exodus that saw over 700,000 Palestinians forced to flee their homes. Driven from their homes by force, by fear, by the brutal reality of war, entire communities were uprooted, their lives shattered. Hundreds of thousands of Palestinians became refugees in their own land, living in makeshift camps, clinging to the hope of return. Villages were depopulated, homes were destroyed, and a new map was drawn in blood, forever altering the landscape of the region. The State of Israel was built on the ruins of Palestinian society, with new settlements and infrastructure rising where Palestinian homes once stood. Its foundation laid on the ashes of their homes, the remnants of a once thriving community now reduced to rubble. The Nakba was not a spontaneous event, a tragic byproduct of war. It was a deliberate and calculated effort to cleanse the land of its Palestinian inhabitants. It was a meticulously planned ethnic cleansing, a systematic campaign of expulsion and displacement, orchestrated by Zionist leaders. Zionist militias, armed and trained by the British, carried out massacres, instilling fear and terror into the hearts of Palestinian communities. Driving terror into the hearts of Palestinian communities, these militias ensured that the exodus was swift and irreversible. The world watched in silence, complicit in the creation of a state built on dispossession and injustice, as the dream of a Palestinian homeland was shattered. The Iron Fist tightens occupation and expansion. The Nakba, or catastrophe, did not end in 1948. It marked the beginning of a prolonged period of displacement and suffering for the Palestinian people. It continues to this day, with millions of Palestinians still living as refugees, many in camps across the Middle East, unable to return to their homes. Israel, emboldened by its victory and fueled by an insatiable appetite for land, has continued to expand its territory, swallowing up more and more of what was once Palestine. This expansion is often accompanied by the construction of new settlements, which are illegal under international law. The West Bank, Gaza, East Jerusalem, all illegally occupied, all subject to Israel's brutal military rule. The presence of the Israeli military is a constant reminder of the occupation, with soldiers patrolling the streets and manning checkpoints. Settlements, illegal under international law, continue to mushroom across the West Bank, concrete symbols of Israeli dominance. These settlements are often built on land confiscated from Palestinians, further shrinking the territory available to them. Palestinians, confined to ever-shrinking enclaves, face daily humiliation and violence. They are subjected to a system of control that restricts their movement and limits their access to basic services. Checkpoints, roadblocks, and a suffocating system of permits control every aspect of their lives. These measures are designed to make daily life difficult and to prevent Palestinians from moving freely within their own land. Their land is confiscated, their homes are demolished, and their children are imprisoned. These actions are part of a broader strategy to displace Palestinians and to make it impossible for them to live in their own homeland. This is the reality of Israeli occupation, a slow, grinding form of ethnic cleansing that seeks to make life unbearable for Palestinians, to force them to leave their ancestral lands. The international community has condemned these actions, but the occupation continues with no end in sight. The American shadow fueling the fire. The United States, self-proclaimed champion of democracy and human rights, stands as Israel's most ardent supporter, providing unwavering political, military, and economic backing. Billions of dollars in military aid flow into Israel each year, funding the occupation, arming the oppressor, and ensuring Israel's military superiority in the region. American weapons, paid for with American tax dollars, are used to kill Palestinian children, to demolish Palestinian homes, to maintain Israel's grip on Palestinian land, perpetuating a cycle of violence and suffering. American politicians, beholden to a powerful pro-Israel lobby, turn a blind eye to Israeli crimes, refusing to hold Israel accountable for its violations of international law, and often actively working to suppress criticism of Israel. The United States provides diplomatic cover for Israel at the United Nations, blocking resolutions that condemn Israeli actions and shielding Israel from international censure, undermining global efforts to achieve justice and peace. America's unwavering support for Israel is not about shared values or strategic interests alone. It is deeply rooted in a complex web of historical, political, and economic factors. It is about power, about maintaining an ally in a volatile region, about appeasing a powerful lobby that exerts undue influence on American politics, and about securing American hegemony in the Middle East. America's hands are stained with the blood of Palestinian children, its conscience burdened by its complicity in Israel's crimes, as it continues to support policies that perpetuate conflict and suffering in the region. Gap 1S, corporate complicity, the hidden hand. While the world watches in silence, some of the biggest corporations continue to support Israel's occupation through various means, including direct investments, partnerships, and supply chain agreements. Companies like McDonald's, Starbucks, and Coca-Cola funnel millions into the Israeli economy, indirectly funding the oppression of Palestinians. These funds often support infrastructure projects, settlements, and other activities that perpetuate the occupation. These corporations, driven by profit, turn a blind eye to the suffering their investments cause. Business executives prioritize shareholder returns over ethical considerations, ignoring the human rights violations linked to their financial activities. Their products, consumed worldwide, carry the stain of complicity. Every purchase contributes to a cycle of oppression, as consumer dollars are funneled back into the Israeli economy, reinforcing the occupation. As Palestinians struggle for survival, these companies thrive, their profits built on the backs of the oppressed. The stark contrast between the lives of Palestinian families and the luxury enjoyed by corporate executives is a glaring injustice. This is the hidden hand of corporate complicity, a web of financial support that fuels the fire of occupation. Through lobbying and political donations, these corporations also influence policies that favor continued occupation. Other companies too play their part, their names less known, but their impact just as devastating. Smaller businesses and lesser-known brands also contribute to the occupation through various forms of economic support and collaboration. The world must wake up to this reality, must hold these corporations accountable for their role in the suffering of the Palestinian people. Activists and consumers alike have the power to demand change and push for corporate responsibility. Geopolitical chessboard, the global battle lines. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict is not just a regional issue, it's a geopolitical chessboard with global players, each with their own strategic interests and historical ties. On one side, the United States stands as Israel's staunchest ally, providing billions in military aid, advanced weaponry, and political support at the United Nations. This alliance is rooted in shared democratic values, strategic interests in the Middle East, and a powerful pro-Israel lobby in Washington. European countries too often align with Israel, driven by historical ties, economic partnerships, and strategic interests. The legacy of the Holocaust and the influence of Jewish communities in Europe also play significant roles in shaping these alliances. Conversely, many nations in the Middle East, such as Iran, Syria, and Lebanon, stand in solidarity with the Palestinian cause, providing various forms of support including financial aid, military training, and political backing. This support is often driven by ideological, religious, and geopolitical factors. Turkey, under its current leadership, has also become a vocal critic of Israel's actions. The Turkish government frequently condemns Israeli policies and supports Palestinian political movements, reflecting its broader ambitions to lead the Muslim world. Russia and China, while not directly involved, play their part in this complex web, often using their positions on the UN Security Council to influence outcomes. Both nations seek to expand their influence in the Middle East, countering U.S. dominance and securing strategic partnerships. The European Union remains divided, with some member states advocating for Palestinian rights and others maintaining strong ties with Israel. This division reflects the complex interplay of historical guilt, economic interests, and domestic political pressures within the EU. Economic and military alliances further complicate the landscape. Countries engage in arms deals, trade agreements, and military cooperation, all of which influence their stances on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Countries like Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates have begun to shift their stances, engaging in quiet diplomacy with Israel while maintaining public support for Palestinians. This dual approach aims to balance regional stability with domestic and international political considerations. This duality reflects the intricate balance of power and influence in the region. Shifting alliances and strategic partnerships continually reshape the geopolitical landscape. The international stance on this issue is a mosaic of political, economic, and military alliances. Each nation's position is influenced by a complex web of historical relationships, strategic interests, and domestic politics. It's a high-stakes game where the moves of each player can dramatically alter the course of the conflict. Diplomatic negotiations, military strategies, and economic policies all play critical roles in this geopolitical chessboard. Understanding this geopolitical landscape is crucial to comprehending the broader implications of the Israeli-Palestinian struggle. The conflict's resolution or lack thereof will have far-reaching consequences for regional and global stability. As we move deeper into understanding the complexities of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, it's crucial to explore the ideological beliefs that drive certain factions within it. These beliefs are not just abstract ideas, but are deeply rooted in historical, religious, and cultural contexts that have evolved over centuries. Jewish Zionists, particularly those with extreme views, hold perspectives that shape their actions and policies. These views often stem from a historical narrative of persecution and a desire for a safe and sovereign homeland for the Jewish people. Zionism, at its core, is a nationalist movement advocating for the return of the Jewish people to their ancestral homeland and the establishment of the State of Israel. This movement gained momentum in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, particularly after the horrors of the Holocaust. However, within this movement, there are varying degrees of belief. These range from moderate to extreme, each with its own vision for the future of Israel and its relationship with the Palestinian people. At one end of the spectrum, moderate Zionists seek peaceful coexistence and mutual recognition with Palestinians. They advocate for dialogue, compromise, and the recognition of Palestinian rights and aspirations. They envision a two-state solution where both peoples can live side by side in peace. This vision includes the establishment of an independent Palestinian state alongside Israel, with secure and recognized borders. Yet, on the other end, extreme Zionists hold more controversial and hardline views. These individuals often reject the idea of a Palestinian state and advocate for the expansion of Israeli territory. These individuals often believe in the absolute sovereignty of Israel over all territories, including those internationally recognized as Palestinian. They see the West Bank, Gaza, and East Jerusalem as integral parts of Israel. Some extreme Zionist teachings can be deeply unsettling. These teachings often draw on religious texts and interpretations that justify the exclusion or subjugation of non-Jews. Certain factions promote the idea that Jewish lives are inherently more valuable than those of others. This belief can manifest in policies and actions that prioritize Jewish settlement and security over Palestinian rights and well-being. These teachings are not representative of all Zionists or Jews, but are propagated by radical elements within the movement. Many Jewish leaders and communities actively condemn these extremist views and work towards peace and reconciliation. This perspective can lead to the justification of violence and the disregard for Palestinian lives. It can create a cycle of retaliation and conflict that is difficult to break. For instance, some extremist rabbis have been known to issue religious edicts that condone violence against Palestinians, framing it as a divine mandate. These edicts can have a powerful influence on their followers. Such teachings can fuel hatred and perpetuate the cycle of violence, making the prospect of peace even more elusive. They contribute to an environment where violence is seen as a legitimate means to achieve ideological goals. These extreme beliefs are not only a moral dilemma, but also a significant obstacle to resolving the conflict. They undermine efforts to build trust and understanding between Israelis and Palestinians. They contribute to a narrative that dehumanizes the other side, making reconciliation and mutual understanding much harder to achieve. This dehumanization is often reflected in media, education, and public discourse. It's important to recognize these radical elements for what they are, outliers within a broader spectrum of beliefs. Most people on both sides of the conflict desire peace and coexistence. However, Their influence should not be underestimated, as they play a crucial role in shaping the ongoing dynamics of the conflict. Their actions and rhetoric can escalate tensions and provoke violent responses. Understanding these ideological underpinnings is essential to grasping the full picture of the Israeli-Palestinian struggle. It requires a nuanced approach that considers the historical, religious, and cultural dimensions of the conflict. It highlights the importance of addressing not just the political and territorial issues, but also the deep-seated beliefs that fuel the conflict. These beliefs can be deeply ingrained and resistant to change. Only by confronting and challenging these extreme ideologies can there be hope for a more peaceful and just resolution. This requires efforts at all levels of society, from grassroots initiatives to political leadership. As we delve into the ideological underpinnings of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, it's important to recognize that such deep-seated beliefs are not confined to one region or group. These ideologies often stem from historical grievances, religious convictions, and nationalistic fervor, which have been passed down through generations and continue to shape the perspectives and actions of individuals and communities involved. Throughout history, various factions and organizations have harbored ambitions that extend far beyond their immediate borders, sometimes even aiming for global influence or control. Empires such as the Roman, Ottoman, and British have sought to expand their territories and impose their rule on distant lands, driven by a combination of economic interests, strategic considerations, and ideological motivations. But how real are these ambitions, and who are the key players involved? To understand this, we must examine the roles of various actors, including nation-states, multinational corporations, and non-state entities, each with their own agendas and methods of exerting influence on the global stage. Several groups, often shrouded in secrecy and operating behind the scenes, have been accused of plotting to reshape the world order according to their own agendas. These include intelligence agencies, clandestine organizations, and secret societies which are believed to engage in covert operations, espionage, and other activities to further their objectives. These groups, ranging from political entities to shadowy organizations, employ a variety of strategies to achieve their goals. They may use political lobbying, economic leverage, and even social engineering to manipulate public opinion and policy decisions in their favor. They wield influence through financial power, political manipulation, and even cultural infiltration. By controlling key economic sectors, influencing political leaders, and shaping cultural narratives, these entities can steer the direction of societies and nations. One key player often cited in these discussions is the Illuminati, a purported secret society that allegedly seeks to control world affairs by masterminding events and planting agents in positions of power. While the Illuminati's existence as depicted in popular culture is highly debated, the concept of secretive groups wielding significant influence is not entirely without historical basis. While the existence of the Illuminati as depicted in popular culture is widely regarded as a conspiracy theory, the idea of a small elite group manipulating global events is not entirely without precedent. Historical examples include the Freemasons and other secretive organizations that have been rumored to hold sway over political and economic affairs. Another example is the influence of multinational corporations, whose economic power allows them to shape policies and regulations in their favor. These corporations often have revenues that surpass the GDP of many countries, giving them substantial leverage over governments and international institutions. These corporations often operate across borders, rendering them less accountable to any single government. Their global reach enables them to exploit regulatory loopholes, shift profits to low-tax jurisdictions, and influence trade policies to maximize their profits. Their strategies include lobbying, funding political campaigns, and leveraging media to sway public opinion. By investing in political candidates, funding think tanks, and controlling media narratives, these corporations can ensure that their interests are prioritized in policymaking processes. The potential impact on global politics is significant, as these entities can prioritize profit over public welfare, leading to increased inequality and social unrest. The concentration of wealth and power in the hands of a few can exacerbate social divisions and undermine democratic processes. Furthermore, some extremist political factions and think tanks have been accused of harboring ambitions for global dominance. These groups often advocate for radical ideologies and policies that challenge the existing international order and promote their vision of a new world order. These groups often promote ideologies that justify their goals, framing their actions as necessary for the greater good. They use propaganda to rally support, form strategic alliances with like-minded entities, and engage in political maneuvering to advance their agendas. They use propaganda, strategic alliances, and sometimes even direct intervention to expand their influence. This can include military interventions, covert operations, and diplomatic efforts to reshape geopolitical landscapes in their favor. The potential impact of these strategies on global politics is profound. If successful, these efforts can alter the balance of power, destabilize regions, and create new alliances and rivalries that shape the future of international relations. If unchecked, the concentration of power in the hands of a few could undermine democratic institutions, erode civil liberties, and exacerbate global conflicts. The erosion of checks and balances can lead to authoritarianism, human rights abuses, and widespread social unrest. It raises the specter of a world where decisions affecting billions are made by a select few, often behind closed doors. This lack of transparency and accountability can result in policies that serve the interests of the powerful at the expense of the broader population. However, it's crucial to approach these claims with a critical mind. While some groups undoubtedly possess significant influence, the notion of a coordinated global takeover often oversimplifies complex geopolitical dynamics. It's important to differentiate between legitimate concerns and unfounded conspiracy theories. While some groups undoubtedly possess significant influence, the notion of a coordinated global takeover often oversimplifies complex geopolitical dynamics. The interplay of various actors, interests, and historical contexts makes the global political landscape far more intricate than any single narrative can capture. It's essential to distinguish between genuine threats and conspiracy theories that can distract from real issues. By focusing on verifiable facts and credible sources, we can better understand the true nature of global power dynamics and address the challenges they pose. In conclusion, the idea of certain groups planning to take over the world is both a fascinating and alarming topic. It highlights the need for vigilance and critical thinking in assessing the information we encounter and the narratives we accept. It underscores the importance of vigilance, transparency, and accountability in global governance. Ensuring that decision-making processes are open and inclusive can help prevent the concentration of power and protect democratic values. By remaining informed and critically assessing the information we receive, we can better navigate the intricate web of global politics and work towards a more equitable and just world. Active citizenship and global cooperation are key to addressing the challenges posed by powerful entities and ensuring a fairer future for all. In the annals of religious texts, few symbols carry as much mystical significance as the red heifer. This rare and unique animal is deeply embedded in the spiritual traditions of Judaism, Christianity, and even Islam, each attributing profound esoteric meanings to its existence. Mentioned in the Hebrew Bible, the red heifer is a rare and unblemished animal, whose ashes were used in ancient rituals of purification. These rituals were not merely symbolic, but were considered essential for maintaining the spiritual cleanliness of the community, especially in the context of the temple in Jerusalem. According to religious tradition, the discovery of a red heifer is a momentous event, signaling a time of spiritual renewal and prophetic fulfillment. This belief is rooted in the idea that the red heifer's ashes are necessary for the ritual purification required to re-establish the temple's sacrificial system. The red heifer must meet stringent criteria. It must be entirely red without a single non-red hair, and free from any physical blemish. This meticulous standard ensures that the animal is pure and suitable for the sacred rituals described in the scriptures. Due to these rigorous requirements, finding a qualifying red heifer has been a rare occurrence throughout history. The scarcity of such an animal has only added to its mystical allure and the fervent anticipation surrounding its discovery. The ashes of the red heifer were used in a purification ritual described in the Book of Numbers, which was essential for the purification of those who had come into contact with a corpse. This ritual was seen as a means to restore spiritual purity and maintain the sanctity of the community. It was believed that without this purification, individuals would remain in a state of ritual impurity, which could have serious spiritual consequences. In recent years, the search for the red heifer has gained renewed interest, particularly among certain religious groups who believe its discovery is tied to the coming of the Messiah and the rebuilding of the Third Temple in Jerusalem. This has led to various initiatives aimed at breeding and identifying potential red heifers. This belief is rooted in the idea that the red heifer's ashes are necessary for the ritual purification required to re-establish the temple's sacrificial system. The anticipation of this event is seen as a key step in the fulfillment of ancient prophecies. Several organizations and individuals have dedicated significant resources to breeding and identifying potential red heifers, often sparking excitement and speculation within religious communities. These efforts are meticulously documented and scrutinized to ensure the animals meet the biblical criteria. The process involves meticulous examination and verification to ensure the animal meets the biblical criteria. This includes not only physical inspections, but also genetic testing to confirm the purity of the breed. However, the significance of the red heifer extends beyond its immediate religious context. It serves as a powerful symbol of faith, hope, and the enduring human quest for spiritual meaning, transcending cultural and religious boundaries. It serves as a powerful symbol of faith, hope, and the enduring human quest for spiritual meaning. For many, the red heifer represents the possibility of divine intervention and the fulfillment of ancient prophecies, offering a sense of continuity and connection to a sacred past. For many, the red heifer represents the possibility of divine intervention and the fulfillment of ancient prophecies, offering a sense of continuity and connection to a sacred past. This connection is not only historical, but also deeply personal for those who see the red heifer as a sign of hope and renewal. In conclusion, the red heifer remains a potent symbol within religious traditions, embodying themes of purification, prophecy, and spiritual renewal. Its story continues to inspire and captivate believers across generations. Its discovery continues to captivate the imagination of believers, underscoring the profound impact of ancient symbols on contemporary faith and practice. The red heifer's significance is a testament to the enduring power of religious narratives. As we reflect on the significance of the red heifer, we are reminded of the enduring power of religious symbols to inspire and unite communities, bridging the gap between the ancient and the modern, the sacred and the everyday. This enduring symbol continues to be a beacon of faith and a testament to the timeless quest for spiritual purity and divine connection. As the mystical allure of the red heifer captivates the minds of the faithful, it symbolizes a deep-rooted spiritual connection and a longing for purity and redemption in Jewish tradition. The red heifer, a rare and unblemished cow, is believed to be essential for the purification rituals described in the Torah, and its significance has been a point of fascination and hope for many. However, the harsh realities of conflict on the ground paint a starkly different picture. The ongoing violence has left a trail of destruction, with war-torn landscapes and damaged buildings serving as a grim reminder of the human cost of this prolonged struggle. Israel, in its quest for security and territorial integrity, has been involved in actions that have drawn international scrutiny and condemnation. The military presence and border security operations are often met with protests, highlighting the tension and opposition to these measures. Among these actions are attacks on peacekeepers, including Christians and churches, as well as others who have stood in their way. These incidents not only disrupt peacekeeping efforts but also target places of worship, exacerbating the conflict's impact on religious communities. One of the most notable incidents occurred in 2006 during the conflict with Hezbollah in Lebanon. This conflict saw intense military engagements and significant civilian casualties, further straining the already volatile region. During this period, Hezbollah fighters engaged in fierce battles with Israeli forces, leading to widespread destruction in Lebanese towns. The conflict's intensity left many areas in ruins and displaced countless civilians. An Israeli airstrike hit a United Nations compound in Qana, a tragic event that underscored the conflict's indiscriminate nature. The aftermath of the airstrike revealed the devastating impact on the civilian population, resulting in the deaths of 28 civilians, many of them women and children. The attack sparked global outrage and raised serious questions about the targeting practices of the Israeli military. The mourning families and funerals highlighted the profound personal losses suffered by the community. The attack sparked global outrage and raised serious questions about the targeting practices of the Israeli military. International protests and extensive news coverage brought the incident to the forefront of global consciousness, demanding accountability and justice. Another significant event took place in 2014 during the Gaza conflict. This period was marked by intense military operations and significant civilian casualties, further deepening the humanitarian crisis in the region. The Israeli Defense Forces, IDF, shelled a United Nations school in Beit Hanun, where hundreds of Palestinian civilians had taken refuge. The attack on this supposed safe haven highlighted the vulnerability of civilians even in designated shelters. Where hundreds of Palestinian civilians had taken refuge, the attack killed at least 15 people and injured many others. The crowded conditions in these shelters underscored the dire situation faced by refugees seeking safety. The attack killed at least 15 people and injured many others, drawing widespread condemnation from the international community. The injured civilians and funerals of victims highlighted the severe human toll of the conflict. Drawing widespread condemnation from the international community, the incident intensified calls for accountability and a reassessment of military tactics. Global protests and international condemnation reflected the growing frustration with the ongoing violence. Christian communities have not been spared either. The conflict has affected religious minorities, disrupting their lives and threatening their places of worship. In 2015, the Church of the Multiplication of the Loaves and Fishes, a revered Christian site in Tabgha, was set ablaze in an arson attack. This act of violence against the sacred site shocked the Christian community and drew widespread condemnation. A revered Christian site in Tabgha was set ablaze in an arson attack. The damage to the church was extensive, and the incident highlighted the vulnerability of religious sites amid the ongoing conflict. While Israeli authorities condemned the act and arrested suspects, The incident highlighted the vulnerability of religious sites amid the ongoing conflict. The swift response by the authorities was a step towards justice, but the damage had already been done. The incident highlighted the vulnerability of religious sites amid the ongoing conflict. The damaged religious artifacts and extensive news coverage brought attention to the need for better protection of these sacred places. These actions have had profound impacts. For those directly affected, the loss of life and destruction of property are immediate and devastating. The grieving families and destroyed homes are a testament to the conflict's far-reaching consequences. For those directly affected, the loss of life and destruction of property are immediate and devastating. Humanitarian aid distribution and the plight of displaced families highlight the ongoing struggle for survival in conflict zones. For peacekeepers and humanitarian workers, such incidents complicate their mission and put their lives at risk. The challenges they face in delivering aid and maintaining peace are immense, often exacerbated by the volatile environment. For religious communities, the desecration of sacred sites is a deep emotional and spiritual wound. The emotional responses from these communities reflect the profound impact of such acts on their faith and identity. However, it's essential to present a balanced perspective. The conflict is complex, with multiple narratives and perspectives that need to be considered to understand the full scope of the situation. Israel often argues that its military actions are in response to threats from militant groups and are necessary for national security. The operations against these groups are seen as crucial for protecting the country's citizens and are necessary for national security. The security measures and border patrols are part of a broader strategy to prevent attacks and ensure the safety of the population. The complex and volatile environment in which these incidents occur can make it challenging to distinguish between combatants and civilians, leading to tragic mistakes. The mixed environments often result in unintended casualties, further complicating the conflict. Moreover, the Israeli government has taken steps to investigate and in some cases prosecute those responsible for unlawful actions. These investigations and tribunals are part of efforts to address misconduct and ensure accountability. In some cases, prosecute those responsible for unlawful actions. The court hearings and news coverage of these prosecutions highlight the ongoing efforts to address violations and uphold justice. These efforts, though not always satisfactory to critics, demonstrate a recognition of the need for accountability. The protests and criticisms reflect the demand for more comprehensive and transparent measures. Demonstrate a recognition of the need for accountability. Israeli officials have discussed various steps to enhance transparency and address the concerns raised by the international community. In conclusion, the cost of conflict is borne by all parties involved: militaries, civilians, peacekeepers, and religious communities alike. The scenes of impact on various communities illustrate the widespread and indiscriminate nature of the suffering. The incidents of attacks on peacekeepers, Christians, and churches underscore the urgent need for a peaceful resolution to the conflict. Peace talks and calls for resolution are crucial steps towards ending the cycle of violence. As we reflect on these events, we are reminded of the profound human cost of war and the enduring hope for peace and reconciliation. The images of war-torn regions and symbols of peace serve as a poignant reminder of what is at stake and the collective aspiration for a better future.